Hello, everybody, and a very warm welcome to our Get the Job series with 𝘁𝗵𝗁. So if you haven't already been part of these previous events we've had around curating your CV and your LinkedIn profile, then we'll for sure recommend you to go and check those out later on. But today we are focusing on job search strategies. And I'll give a very brief introduction to the lovely 𝘁𝗵𝗁, who is an ex-Google hiring manager with over 200 interviews under her belt and has recently gone through the experience of kind of optimizing her own job search strategies and learning lots in that area as well. So Kate, thank you so much for coming today and making your expertise available to all of our wonderful members here at the Female Factor.
Perfect. Guys, if you don't see the slides, or at some point you stop seeing the slides, please let me know.
Absolutely. So before we kick things off, we have a few ground rules. So Kate is here volunteering her time to share all of these wonderful strategies with you. So make sure that we are present in the here and the now, paying attention and keeping ourselves muted until we have some questions that we would like to ask. And I'm not sure if maybe Kate has some dedicated Q&A time at the end of this session, but please make sure to ask your questions because this is your time to connect with Kate and to be able to get some more tailored advice to maybe your particular situation.
Oh, yes, then maybe I will start. Thank you so much, Taylor, for the introduction. I'm also like managing a little bit of, Taylor, maybe you can manage also the people who are joining. Yeah, first of all, before I kick off, I would also like to say a massive thank you to the Female Factor and for our already pretty good collaboration. We're doing a lot of cool things together. So thank you very much. So yeah, we definitely have the agenda for today. We will definitely once again say that the job is a personal matter, and we will try to go deeper into why and how to deal with that. Why strategies? Why we not talk about application channel or application, whatever, like why it's a strategy. And here probably that's the most important element that I would all of you guys and girls to really understand. And of course, I'm from a sales world. We will talk about the metrics and KPIs and how actually the sales science can help you manage your strategies. So as said, why I'm here and who I am, as already mentioned, I call myself international commercial leader because I've been working internationally in different countries with different teams on the commercial side always, so mostly in sales. I'm an ex-Shopify, ex-Googler, and around 15 plus years of experience. I was also a participant of Next Generation Women Leaders run by McKinsey. Definitely check it out. It's a cool opportunity that runs every year, hopefully still, by McKinsey, where you can apply and join the really, really cool event. I call myself as a people-focused leader because I believe in teams and believe in people who are behind these teams. I'm a women in tech advocate and mentor, and I really try to support women in tech and beyond because I think we can and we should. If you heard about the Google training that is called 𝘄𝗵𝗁, if not, Google it. It's a really, really cool training. So I'm an official facilitator. And as already Taylor mentioned, I have done a lot of interviews on both sides. So I did a lot of interviews on the side of Google when I was hiring for different teams. And I also did a lot of interviews myself when I was transitioning from job to the job. So I believe I'm definitely not an expert, so I don't have an HR stamp on my face. So please don't expect me to give you a very, very deep HR advice. But I believe I could share what I've learned, and I believe I could share it in a way that maybe you could apply as a tool, and hopefully it will help you get the job or rethink a little bit the process of the job search. So moving forward, so definitely we had the agenda, but we also have the goals for today. And hopefully by the end of the session, the goals will be achieved. We would like to transform the mindset of the job search. I want us to get to know with the proposed plan. And I also, after the session, would really like you to think about your plan. Do you have a plan? And if not, how can you make a plan? Because when there's a plan, you can always pivot. And of course, it'd be great that we will feel comfortable to apply this new knowledge to proceed with the next steps. Again, plan, knowledge, next steps. Also, before I kick off, I would like to say it definitely will be, I will have a dedicated time where I would really like you guys to share your thoughts, your ideas. You can do it in the chats. You can do it, you just unmute yourself, just unmute and speak, because I don't really see everything, because it's a very complicated management system of Zoom and Canva. Canva, this is what I'm presenting. But yeah, feel free to just unmute, ask the question. Let's not have a monologue of myself. Let's have a dialogue. I think it's much more useful for everybody. Cool. So let's kick it off. Why are we looking for a job? That's a really big question. Yeah. And that's also a very simple question, because we need to have a job. But if I think about that, we have a lot of reasons, and we can have in a different life situations. And I also would like to talk it through, because I think it's important, because every life situation, every reason has its own emotional aspect that could influence how we proceed with the job search. Who can we be? Like, what could be the reason? I start from the very basic. Okay, you can be a fresh graduate. You're finishing the university, or you just finished the university and you want to have a job, and it's you want to have a good job, and you think, okay, this is the time for my first serious job to be. Or you feel that you no longer grow and learn in your current role. You just feel that you are wasting the time. You're not learning anything new. You're doing the same thing, and you're kind of stuck in the ruts. And that's for you a flag. Okay, maybe that's the time. You don't like your job anymore, or the company that you're working for. Maybe you never liked it. You just had this opportunity before, but now you really feel that you have learned something, and now you're ready for the next step. And that's also one of the very good, valid reason. Maybe you're very unhappy with your current manager, and it's actually one of the biggest reasons why people move jobs and move companies, because they're not happy with the manager. Maybe you really on the mission to build a portfolio career, and change is the key, and you had a plan that you have to work in every role for 2-3 years, and then you have to move because you really want to build different experiences, different opinions, different sectors, different verticals, and that's for you the time for the change. Maybe you feel you want to you really want to move up the career ladder, take more risks, get promotions, and get promoted in your responsibilities, and also earn more. That's also a very good reason why you can start looking for a new job. Maybe you want to start a new career and enter a completely new industry, and you feel a little bit at a loss, and you don't know what to start with, how to do it, what should I do, how should I apply. Maybe you had a career break, or any type of break, maternity break, and you want to get back to the market. And now, how do I do it? I haven't been in the market for a couple of years, and now I need to think about my CVs, think about like, how did I do it? How did I do it before? How can I really refresh my knowledge and feel ready and confident? Maybe you need to move to a different city or a country and find a job, which also has a completely new level of complexities, but there's still a task. Maybe you were laid off, and now you need to start from the very beginning. And of course, it could be many, many more other reasons. I just decided to stop here, because otherwise there's going to be no more place. But I'm sure we all have so many reasons, have had or will have so many reasons why at some point we would need to start for a new job. And I would just say, whatever reason you have, it's a very valid reason. It's very truly yours, and it's very unique. So, and there is nothing to be ashamed of, be super nervous, or I don't know, feel very, very anxious. You will still feel very anxious, but don't feel too anxious, because the reason is good enough to do that step. And we know that job search could bring different emotions. That's as already as I mentioned. Maybe it could be super easy and fun and totally stress-free. I don't know if there's any people in the room who are those people. Please share how you guys doing it. I would really like to learn. I'm not this person. I'm a little bit on the different side. But still, let's recognize the fact that there are some really, really chill people and they really, really think it's easy and amazing, which is great. Maybe for you, it could be super incredible, emotional, stressful, and full of uncertainties. I would say when I was looking for a job, I was more on that side, not particularly, not fully, but I was definitely more on the side of emotions and uncertainties till I decided to make a plan, because it was really, really exhausting to be really, really stressful and emotional. So it's very personal, as we said, right? It's a very personal process, full of ups and downs, full of different reasons, but we still need to manage and to deal with that. And that's why we're here. And I really appreciate that you're taking today the time to share this hour with me and that we can learn something together. We're here today to help you change the perspective and mindset and treat the job search differently. Not as everything that I mentioned before, because everything that I mentioned before, especially emotion sides, is not really helpful. So let's try to see how we can transform this mindset. We will learn today how to treat this process as a complex, multi-phase business or sales project that you will own and drive. That's really, really important. So from this huge piece of emotions and uncertainties, oh my God, what to do? This is a business project. For any business project, I need to have a plan, and I will drive this plan and own this plan, and I feel accountable for this plan. So that already sounds completely different. You feel more like a boss, and you feel that you have much more control than before. Also, before we move into more practical and tactical stuff, I also want to recognize the fact that whatever the reason could be that you're looking for a new job, it's a chance for new reflections. It's a chance to reflect and actually think about bigger things. Maybe you never had time to think about these bigger things, that now is the time. And what could be these bigger things? You can think about what you really like and don't like doing professionally and why. You can really think, okay, the reason why I want to look for a new job because I actually didn't like what I was doing, and then try to go deeper and see what actually you didn't like and why. And then as a counter proposal, think what you would like to do, what brings you joy, what brings you energy, what you can learn. So that's a really good question to ask yourself. Then you can also assess what is important for you, what resonates with your values. Actually, the question is about values is very, very important. That's also the question that you might hear at the interviews. And the reason why, because some companies, not all of them, not all of the people are asking this question, but some companies are really want to find people that that match the values of the company, that match the values of the team. Therefore, to think about your values, to have a list of your values, and to think what is important for you would be a really good exercise, not only for yourself and your self-reflection, but actually to prepare for the interview. Think what you want to learn and who do you want to get to know, Maybe you have some opinion leaders that you would really like to follow and you're fascinated about them. Maybe maybe I'm now in a new country and actually it's time that I practice my new language or learn a new language because I feel very uncomfortable. And then you can already follow up with more concrete steps. That's a really cool thing or maybe you want to improve your communication skills or writing skills or statistical skills. I don't know, you name it, but I'm pretty sure every one of us has a certain list what I want to learn, but I never had time to. So that's also a good moment to transform your brain from all these emotions and insecurities to more actionable steps. What can I do? What can I learn? Also brainstorm where you want to see yourself next year, now, in the future. Maybe you will have time to think about this basic question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Maybe that's the time to think about where you want to see yourself in 5 years. Maybe not, but again, as an idea, how can you use this time smartly? And this is particularly one which I really like. It's a chance to fairly SWOT yourself. Make a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What could be the opportunity and threats? And see some blind spots and strengths, and obviously make a plan. Let's say you know that you have certain problems with the focus. You're constantly distracted. You see that is impacting your life and your current role or previous role negatively. You're very honest with yourself, and you know that this is a time maybe I can do something about that. Or you see that actually your strengths was communication. So maybe you should really think how you can use the strengths even more in your new role. And maybe you can look for roles and companies where the skill could be more valued. Marketing, sales, etc. So really be very fair with yourself, be very honest, make this little table in your notebook and make a SWOT analysis of yourself and your skills. Work with your friends, work with your partners, family, help yourself get more feedback, more insights, and then see what you can do with this. So definitely whatever the reason could be for a new job search, you still are in this moment, and maybe you have more time than before. So use this moment to get some reflections, make a plan, and learn about yourself a little bit more. It will definitely help you. And the last but not least, it's an opportunity to be mentored and coached. It's also a really, really interesting thing. Actually, that's one of my examples. When I was in this transition moment, I thought there are people who I really admire, but I really think I could learn something from these people. So I just approached those people and asked for help, that they could share certain thoughts about what they think about sales or leadership or any other questions. And those people replied back without, I'm thinking, any reason, but actually they felt good and they really wanted to share their expertise. So now not only I was coached and mentored, but actually I'm in connection with those people now that I never been before, and I never thought I would write to them. So it's also a very good moment to think about that. Or you just get a coach because you actually struggling and you don't know what to do. You don't know what kind of questions you should ask, but you've heard that coaching is good. Maybe you can try it now. So it could be also very interesting. So this is, you see, a huge chance, a huge opportunity for us to also retransform, rebrain our current mindset and think, how can I use this time with a more positive and more productive thinking as before? Let's pause and reflect for a second. And if anyone has any or has had any experience in the past of changing the jobs, what were your reflections? Did you reflect? Did you have any new insights? What was the reason? So if anyone wants to share, if not, it's also not a problem. But if yes, feel free to share your thoughts, reflections, insights, and maybe we can learn from you.
Hi, everyone. My name is 𝘂𝗵𝗿.
Hello.
I have changed jobs quite frequently, I would say, because for me, culture is a big topic, also manager, obviously, and learning. So as soon as I realized, and it's funny because you have been at Google and I have been at companies that hire like they are Google, but then you are there and you realize it's very inagile, it's nothing moves, they make you all of these promises and then basically nothing happens. So, and the manager acts accordingly as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I feel stuck, it's really difficult to just sit through it, So I feel like I have to go and I have to find something else that is inspiring and where I can learn and where I am in an environment where my personality is like nurtured and where I can grow and where they are open for new ideas. So yeah, and that what I realized is moving jobs frequently, like every 1-2 years, even after 6 months, is accepted in some countries, and in other countries it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, I have lived in France the last 5 years, and this was never an issue. And now I moved back to Austria. I am originally from Austria, and I cannot get any interviews because I feel like the culture is so crazy and I've already forgotten how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's my main struggle right now.
Okay, totally get you. Also understand a little bit about the Austria. Uh, yeah, I also work now at 𝘁𝗵𝗿, and people work. My team, everybody who is in my team, they've been working for this company for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
but interestingly, I still believe it's possible, especially if you move for maybe you will look at some small companies or tech companies or startups because they're definitely much more agile. Another aspect, when I was looking for a job after Google, and I was applying for also pretty big tech companies, the feedback was to me, why did I spend so much time at Google? Didn't I feel I want to learn something new? And for me, it was such a huge insight that when I was actually applying for a job, I felt like a rock star. You know, I'm from Google and blah, blah. It was not a mistake. It's just what I felt. But then it was a bit of a reality check. And that was the questions I received at the interview. How did you manage didn't you feel you want to learn something new? Because still 10 years and it's the same culture, the same product, which for me at first, I didn't know how to reply to those questions. But then more or less, I figured it out. But that was also a very different opening for me that, okay, that's a reality. This is something I need to deal with. So yeah, thank you so much for the comments. Any more thoughts, ideas, insights?
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Alina. I work as a teacher at governmental institution, and I have changed, I have changed or switched to some other governmental institutions before. And first and foremost, at first I was scared because I was a translator, then I worked as a copywriter, and finally as a teacher. I was so scared, so freaked out to go to the job interview. But then I realized that teaching gave me more insights. For example, every single time when we switch a job, we get not even hard skills, but also soft skills. So now it helped me to boost my self-esteem to a certain level. So now I can, I don't know, I can meet new people and I can make acquaintance with them even in the elevator or something. And I have never thought about it before, but it has also taught me that unfortunately, if we compare work at the private institutions and the governmental, entities, we will realize that unfortunately, if it's government or state organization, you will face with a lot of red tape, a lot of bureaucracy. So
that's true.
I hope that I can't say that I know something about the perks of working at private companies, but if I switch, I hope that I will choose private institution and will never get back to state organizations ever again because you can't even move on. And unfortunately, as a drawback, as a demerit and disadvantage, I can be doing something on Sunday and I will be sad, oh my goodness, get back to work now. And I say, what is the deadline? The deadline was yesterday, but I said, but no one told me about that. And I will get a response, who cares or something. Yeah, so it seems like every single time every single time when I will be considering this for another job post, and I will switch to some private entity. Yeah.
You mentioned a very interesting thing that I would like kind of a pause for a second for everybody. That was a super interesting insight about the elevator pitch. It's clear because if you have to repeat and introduce yourself with different people, with different nationalities, men, female, all of them, how many interviews you go through. And maybe during your first, second interview, you feel nervous, but maybe on your interview number 10, 15, you feel like a rock star. You already know exactly what to say, how to say it, with which words, with which emotions, and then you can replicate it and you can do it all the time. So it's really, really useful skill. At first, of course, it's everything. It's a little bit stressful, nervous. I always say, when you have an interview, that's a highlight of your day. You're nervous about it, but when you've already done it super many times, that's not. It's just business as usual. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's move on. Thank you so much. If anyone have some more ideas, we'll have more stops, and I would be super curious to hear what you guys think. So let's move to to the juice of of today. Why do we talk about job strategies? So strategies are, this is the key word of today, strategies. And especially we talk about it in plural. So I don't say a strategy, I talk strategies. Because we know the most important business rule. What is the most important business rule? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. So this rule applies to sales, marketing, investments, business. I don't know what kind of exercises you need to do, what kind of food you need to eat, all the things. Diversification is super, super important. Therefore, when we talk about strategies, we use plural. And I'm pretty sure I have a list of 10 strategies, but I'm pretty sure every one of you will have even more ideas. So absolutely write them down to make sure that your list will be more than 10. And if you have any more cool ideas, please share that we can also learn from you. So the rule, as I said, could be and is, you can apply it to the job search too. And let's see further, how can we do it? And what could be those strategies? And what could be those channels? Why? Because again, moving back to our initial statement, job search is a complex, multifaceted business or sales project that you will own and drive and control. And you are in the driving seat. And you know that there's a rule of diversification, and you will soon know how to apply it with science. So how can you apply for a job? Give me ideas.
Possibly send a LinkedIn note to someone like, hi, you're working in this company. Do you have any like ropes, any job openings, kind of this one?
Fantastic. It's called informal role chat. I will have it on my list. Beautiful. Any other ideas?
Use online platforms from LinkedIn to AMS or whatever you prefer.
Or 𝘆𝗵𝗿, little advertisement.
There's
𝘆𝗵𝗿.
several, there is so many different ones.
Fantastic. Perfect. Any more ideas?
I would suggest contacting 𝘁𝗵𝗿 if you know.
Exactly. Awesome. Cool. You see, we're already seeing that there's a lot of options. Let's see how we can structure those options, how we can make a list of those options, and how we can really use it as a list of different things we can do. How can we diversify our approach? The possible chances you could use to apply for jobs. As I said, my list is 10 points. But again, if you have more, please feel free to share at the end, because it would be cool to have even more. Then we can diversify it even more. So number one, direct applications via company websites. We all know there are companies, then there is a job section, then there is a button apply, you can do it. Pluses and minuses. Pluses, that your application will be in the company job section, and hopefully the recruiter will see your application. Minuses, if the company is huge, maybe you are one of millions, and maybe the recruiter wouldn't have a chance to see it. If the company is smaller, if it's a startup, maybe that's just a better way. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that could be the pluses and minuses of each. So I would just say, if you're applying for Google, probably that's not the best way. Still, Google has a very strong brand in the world. Therefore, maybe it's not the best way. If you apply for a startup where 2 people, probably that's the best way how you can apply for a role. So direct application via company websites. Specialized job platforms, as we already mentioned. So in every country, there's a list of job platforms that you can use, specializing in different roles, companies, whatever you want to do. Of course, there's LinkedIn, a very universal tool. By the way, there's a really cool tool that I learned. It's called 𝘊𝗼.com, which is a relatively new platform. It represents jobs from more techy companies, small companies. And not only you can see and select the location, you can select if you would like to have this job remote. And there's also information about the company. Let's say if it's a startup, you see what is the investment behind this startup? Do they have A, B, C series? How much money? What's the product, etc., etc. So it's a pretty cool tool. It's also very, very nice interface. One of the tools you can use. Of course, if you're in Austria, we have 𝘆𝗶𝗿, we have LinkedIn, we have all other things. So definitely specialized job offers. It's also one of the way you can apply for a job. Number 3, which we just already mentioned, informal role chats and referrals. And here in brackets, very important, it's internal and external. So let's say you work for a bigger company that is more than 10 people, and there's different departments, and you feel that you can actually learn something else. You like the company, but you're a little bit bored and tired of your role. It's absolutely no problem, and it's okay to talk with the recruiters and say, hey, do we have any teams that are hiring? Do we have any available headcounts because I'm interested in this and this and this. Can you introduce me to a hiring manager? And there is an internal process how you can apply it. The same applies to external. You have some companies that you think are great, or I don't know, you've been following certain companies, or you know friends who work in these companies. That's absolutely not a problem to reach to those people, for example, on LinkedIn. And I can guarantee you, if you reach, let's say 10 people, maybe 5 wouldn't reply to you, but 5 will, because it's not a big deal. And usually people are super happy to share. And this is where you're going to be ready. This is, you can say a little bit about yourself, doing a little bit of elevator pitch. This is where you can ask, what's the company? What's the culture? How you guys feeling? Do you have any openings soon? And then if there is a chance, you can refer me. Don't be scared to ask random unknown people to refer you. Don't be scared. If they say no, that's fine. But they say, can you refer me? Do you think I could be a good fit? Can you think you can refer me? People will say yes if they think you're a good fit, because it's not a problem. And it's also usually for referral, you incentivized. So it's a very good win-win situation. So don't be scared. Definitely present yourself. Definitely make sure you have a good CV and LinkedIn, that people will check your profile, talk, understand what the company is doing, prepare the questions, and then absolutely no problem to ask for a referral. And it's also one of the most kind of efficient way, if you apply for bigger companies, to jump the queue, because the referrals that are coming from the employees are definitely much more valid by recruiters than all other applications. So that was number 3. Number 4, direct messages to recruiters. And here, how would I vision this process? Let's say you see, let's say LinkedIn, yeah, you see there's a lot of roles, and very often you see a hiring a recruiter behind. There's even a little picture. The question is, can you write to this person? The answer is yes. The reason why, because it's also for you the way, let's say you apply for this role, that's also the way for you to once again say, hey, my lovely recruiter, I'm here. I think I will be a great candidate for you. This is my CV again attached, because I just want to make sure it's here. And to be honest, in many cases, recruiters write it right back, because recruiters also have quotas and targets, and they need to have interviews happening. Therefore, help them help you. Don't be scared to write a nice message and see what happens. Number 5, conversations with the hiring manager. Maybe you can also see hiring managers. Maybe it's also there is a way how you can contact it. Maybe you can ask the recruiter if you can, if there is a hiring manager that you can contact. If you're, for example, working for a company and you're looking for an internal process, that's a really cool way to have a cup of coffee with the hiring manager and ask, hey, I really like your team. I really think I could be a good fit. How's the headcount looking? Do you guys hiring? Do you see if there's a growth or not? Even if it's not the moment when they're hiring or headcounts plans, for example, you will definitely be in the mind of this person if everything fits together. So, for example, your profile fits to the needs of the team and to the needs of the manager. So definitely conversation with the hiring manager is also a very good way how you can learn more about the role and details, but also be on the agenda of this person. So number 6, sorry, job fairs and events. This is, I would say, very universal thing, but again, especially maybe if you are just a fresh graduate, it's a good way to go and see what's happening. Again, have your LinkedIn ready, have your CV ready, check if there is a job fair in your area, in your city, check which companies are actually there, because usually that's a list of companies. See what could be an interesting lead for you to talk to, find those companies, make your list, talk to these people, elevator pitch. Again, maybe the first conversation will be a little bit clumsy and uncomfortable, but if you talk to 15 people, I'm pretty sure the person number 15 will be a great elevator pitch too. So also see how you can utilize those events and check out if you have anything. And especially if you are a graduate or looking for a job after the university, that's definitely a good thing, because your university somehow always organizing these events with other companies. So that's what they have to do. Business networking and speaking at events. So here, for example, if you still have a job, but you still want to do something else and you feel that you do want to do something else, definitely try to business network and learn about what other people are doing, what their companies are doing, try to build a relationship. Maybe it's even the relationship that you have to do for your job. Yeah. So for example, that's your clients, that's your agencies, that's your suppliers, I don't know. So, but it's also good because it's not where you proactively pitch yourself, but this is where proactively you show how you work. But also you can ask question, how guys, how you doing? How's the growth going? How's the company performing, etc., etc., etc. If you have a chance to speak at these events, for example, there is a talk you can do, there's a presentation you can do, there's a training you can do, a workshop, do that, because people will look at you, and if your presentation is good, make sure it's good. Then be like, cool, she's good, maybe this is what we need. This is exactly what we were thinking about. And then it could be for you also a potential way. And don't be scared to follow up afterwards, add this person on LinkedIn, and at some point ask, oh, your company looks super interesting. Is there anything interesting that I could consider? Because I've been thinking to change roles, and then you can already lead the conversation further. So it's also a pretty good way. It's more a bit of a long-term strategy. It's not an immediate, but you never know. So that's also something that you can use. Social government support, especially if you were laid off, let's say, if you don't have a job, and maybe social government support has not a great PR around it and the reputation. So you go there, you also sometimes see a little bit random people that probably don't want to look for a job. They're just there because they have to. But if you think about this channel strategically, it's actually pretty good. Why? Definitely sign up if you lost your job. Sign up there because you will be insured. Then you can have some money to support, which is also fine. These people also have resources and other channels where they receive roles. So it's also very important to actually see what kind of extra job applications you can make through them. Also, through these services, you can get language support in terms of sending you to some language school or language courses if you don't speak a language in this country and you have to. Or for example, there could be also some workshops, how to write your CV, how to write a cover letter, how to do an interview. You might know everything, but you can also learn something new. So definitely don't completely ban this, and don't feel bad that you have to go there. It's still a channel, and it could be something interesting going check in. You never know. So, and again, that's not a lot of time commitment. You just need to still check in with them, but maybe once a month or something like this. So definitely I would not put it out of the of our list. And university career service, especially for those who are graduating or doing postgrads and they're also graduating. Usually every normal decent university has a career service department or career service person who can also help you, connect you to some companies, maybe for some graduate programs, maybe they know about some job fairs, some events, some pitching events, because a lot of companies are looking for young talents. Therefore, they do some workshop. For example, consultancy always do it. And usually good universities also collaborate with those companies. So definitely check it out. Or if you know somebody who is graduating from the university and still not signed up for the career service of this university, help him or her do that, because it's also pretty good. And last but not least, it's your LinkedIn personal brands. LinkedIn is not only a platform where you can apply for a job. It's a platform where you can build your personal brands and build up this subject matter expertise and share it with others. LinkedIn is not the platform to share what you have eaten yesterday. It's not an Instagram. It's also not to show what you're wearing or what's your style. But this is where you can share your expertise, your thoughts, your ideas. Maybe you know some cool tips how to do a great Excel sheet, or I don't know, something that you can share with people that could be useful. Definitely think about that. It's a social platform. The social rules all work, likes, shares, and stuff like this, but it's much more professional. And not only recruiters now always check what you're actually doing there, because you also in many applications, you have to include your link. So if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, definitely have a LinkedIn profile, because that's a good thing to give a very quick way to introduce yourself to a recruiter, to a manager. But it's also your expertise. You can actually become an opinion leader in whatever subject you're interested in. So definitely think about that. And I also know real cases where people who were doing good content, good useful content in their area, in their business area, they were just approached proactively and headhunted. So without any application, without any process, the company just followed them. Somebody in the company saw their post, then they were following them, and then they thought, this person should work with us, not with somebody else. And then they approached them and give an offer. So this absolutely true life situation. So definitely think about that too. So, so this is kind of list of 10. Again, I didn't think of anything else. If we have any more ideas, please unmute yourself and let others know what other tools we can use to apply for a job. Any other thoughts? I'm sure there's more. So, but I just couldn't think of something else. This is all the tools I use myself. If not, also fine. But if anyone has will have an idea in the future, please feel free to share. But I still think 10 is already quite a list. So, and definitely don't forget your CV and your LinkedIn profile. We had sessions also on LinkedIn and CV. I think it was good sessions. I received very good feedback. Again, check them out, see what you can learn. See that your CV looks good. Think about the audience for your CV. Make sure that your LinkedIn is universally friendly, not as specialized as your CV. Make sure it's live. Make sure you have a good professional picture. Make sure that you have some connections. Be active there as well. So that's going to be my 2 points here. So just want to also pause for a second and ask you, ladies, I think we have mostly ladies. I cannot see all the people, but if there are some guys, please also shout out. What was your channels that you used that were successful for you and you found good and useful and maybe not as obvious as at first? Any thoughts? Did anyone use any tools? Did anyone apply for a job?
I'll quickly jump in here, Kate. So, truthfully, I've actually been able to utilize the Female Factor Network to be able to meet other women in different industries that have been able to help contribute to the mission that I'm on in the coaching space. So that's been a really great resource for me. And I know, of course, I'm community coordinator here. It's not a shameful plug at all.
Absolutely. But it's a super good,
great.
super good point. Super good point.
I would encourage other ladies to try to network more there as well, because there's so many women that are willing to help provide you with some guidance and advice and make those connections for you as well. It's been great.
Cool. Any other thoughts? Any other ideas?
Like what concerns the sources that help us to find a job, just because like I currently work as a teacher, as a tutor, you know, like it when the other friends hear or the neighbors hear that I am a teacher, they meet me somewhere and say, oh my goodness, we need a teacher. So in my case, it is very like easy, yeah. And now I would like to switch into tech to, I don't know, to choose like product ownership path, and create a LinkedIn account for me was a total stress because, you know, I used to that fact that job is finding me. I'm not the person who is looking for a job. Whenever I bump into a person, even in a supermarket, they say, oh my goodness, yeah, we have like heard like, you know, the other neighbors from the other street telling that you're a teacher and we need a teacher here. Yes, it looks like a total challenge. And previously, I also applied the internet platforms of the websites of the companies, as you have said. Like, it seems to me that every company has this button like careers or something, or career options, and some other websites. So possibly not those auto.com as you have mentioned, but I'm from Ukraine, so you know, some Ukrainian websites like Work.ua or something. Yeah, so that's it.
Cool. No, totally get it. Totally get that LinkedIn at first for you could be a little bit of a challenge. But again, that's a process. Do the first trial, see how it goes, look around some other profiles, check the profiles, for example, of the female factor people that you see on the community, add them up, see how they structure their profile, maybe take some wording, why not? Like, see how it works for yourself, because if we don't know how to do it from scratch, we can always look how it's done and then slowly, step by step, adapt it to yourself. And then ask for feedback, see if your profile resonates and someone who is looking for a new opportunity. Also, for you, teacher to tech or teach or any other, like from one industry to the other, it's important to have a story why. And maybe the story for you, you just want to try something new, but try to also make it accessible to others and try to explain why you want to make this transition. And sometimes maybe you just fed up being a teacher and it's absolutely good reason to look for a job, I'm just saying. But that's not the best explanation to the recruiter why you want to. You can say that you just saw so much stuff through your teaching career. You, I don't know, develop so many different transferable skills that you see that you can apply here, and here. Try to think of some good explanation, certain bullet points, 3-4 bullet points, write it down, learn how to say it, learn how to present it, and present it. And then when people will ask me, oh, why you want to move? You know what? That's a good question. Thank you so much for answering. This is my reasons, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And when you confidently give those reasons in nice wording, people have no more questions because, okay, that's what you want to do. Okay, I have no more questions. And that's also for you not to feel uncomfortable, because you can be today a teacher, then tomorrow you will work in tech, and maybe in a year you decide to fly to the Mars and start preparing for the Mars mission. It's fine. But sometimes, you know, this personal idea is hard to understand some other people, therefore make their life easy and prepare. And I'm telling you, when you give your reasons why, and you say, I actually have 5 points, and I rated them from 1 to 5, I will quickly walk you through number 1, number 2, number 3, last but not least. And then people are like, okay, all clear. So, but no, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, thank you so much for insights.
Cool. Let's see what we else have. Yes, so this is something I want to bring from my own experience. I obviously work in sales, so if I didn't put anything from the sales and I didn't inspire you to become sales lead, what a salesperson I am, right? But sales as a science, it's not only where proactively go and sell something to somebody, right? Sales could be a really, really cool science, and it's very, very transferable. So certain things that you can apply not only to selling, but actually to the job search. And here I wanted to introduce, we already talked about some of them during the previous sessions, but actually today I thought of something else that I would like to share. So yeah, sales is not only active selling. Sales, it's also a science. And there's super many books written about the sales pipeline, sales velocity, different challenges sales, consultative sale, inside selling. There are so many things for so many sales industries, because the technique how you're going to sell to, I don't know, sell vegetables on the market, and the technique that you sell a very complicated product to a very complicated company, different, but still there is a lot of elements you can use to both. That's why also when we're looking for a job and we're doing interviews, we're actually also selling ourselves, and we should not be, how would I put it? You shouldn't feel ashamed, because you trying to sell, and the company and the recruiter and the manager is also doing the same. They're trying to actually tell you that you can spend 8 hours of your day, or 9 or 10 or more, depends on the role, at the company. So they're also trying to sell. So that's a very, very business process as it is. But what I wanted to share with you, the tools that could help, and the tools that are usually very known in the sales world that I use all the time to assess how healthy is the portfolio of my clients, how healthy is the performance of my team, what should I focus for, where I am, and where's my sales pipeline. So number one, learn what pipeline is. We will have a little bit also on the slides, and I will briefly mention that, but check it out what pipeline is and why it is important. Sales pipeline, there's 1,000 million different videos in all possible languages on, first of all, YouTube. You can also read, but also try to get yourself acquainted with this word pipeline. It's a good thing. It's a very, very powerful thing, by the way. Set yourself daily, weekly goals for applications and rigorously follow the plan. So here it's super, super important. If you apply for one job, and you wait and wait and wait, and then you receive an auto reply saying, thank you very much for application. Unfortunately, we're considering somebody else. You're totally destroyed because you thought that's the job, and then you received a rejection. Or you were invited to the first interview, and then you got rejection. If you apply for 10 jobs a week, or like 3-5 jobs a day, at some point you will start filling up your pipeline, you start filling up this first lead generation funnel. That is very important, and rigorously follow that, because then you will be at different stages. With certain companies, you will be at the stage of application, then you will see some rejection, yet you will see some auto replies, or nobody will ever write to you. That's also fine, because there's nobody to write to you. Also be aware sometimes why companies don't get back to you, because there's one recruiter for the whole team, and this recruiter is managing internal and external. And unfortunately, you were those unlucky one who she or he didn't manage the time. She didn't have the time for you. Therefore, you never receive the reply, but you're actually waiting. But if you have a lot, you will managing this much more professionally, because you will understand where I am. Okay, here. And even if you receive at some point rejection, it's also closed deal. Not maybe positive, you didn't receive an offer, but you still went through the process, you still pitch yourself, you still prepared, you still learned something else, you still learn how to position yourself. Therefore, this is probably one of the most important things, because the math, you cannot kill the math. The math will still get the process going. If you apply for 5 roles, or like, I don't know, 3-5 roles a day, let's say how many days in a week you can do it, eventually you will start seeing the movement, you will start seeing the traction. Something will go away, something will come to you. Therefore, it is super, super important. And definitely, that would be my advice. Number one, it's also one of the way how to keep your emotions under control. Because if you receive a rejection, but you know that you applied for 10 more, okay, you just wait for something else. And then you see how is it going. Measure your progress. It's also very important. See how you're moving. See what channel gives you the best reply. Measure every point. See how long does it take. Is there any particular company? See, for example, how long does it usually take for people to get back to you? Or for example, if you do an internal or external role chats, do people reply or not? How can you plan it in advance? How can you focus that time to make sure that the results are coming? So measure your progress. And if you receive rejection, it's a progress. It's not the end of the world. That's something you can learn. Unfortunately, we can learn much more from rejections than from positive cases. That's also true. You can learn how to position yourself better. You can proactively ask for feedback, and you will have insights that you cannot have yourself. So this is also a very important milestone in your journey. Again, learn through the process, adapt and refine your approach. I already talked about that, but see what you can do better. See how can you use a better version of your CV. See how you can refine a better cover letter if it's needed. See how you can better introduce yourself. See how you can make an elevator pitch. See how you can make a background, what you've done and why. See how you can better formulate the motivation. So with each point, you can adapt and refine and make it better. And the last but not least, understand and measure which channel bring you the biggest gains and ROI. And again, you're using all the tools at the beginning, but then you see that some tools are performing better, some tools are performing worse. Prioritize the tools that are performing better, deprioritize the tools that are performing worse. So you don't have to constantly use 10 or more channels. See what works best for you and prioritize and double down on those tools. And again, that's a list. And create your sales funnel. And this is very connected to the pipeline. And I will show you how a pipeline looks. And that's a usual business pipeline funnel. You can just replace the word of lead generation in the sales word when we're selling something. When we try to do the outreach to potential prospects or customers, you're trying to do an outreach to prospects who are recruiters, companies, hiring manager, etc., etc., etc. So you see, it's a funnel, lead generation, lead qualification, yes or no, am I going on the screen or not, initial contact, my first screen interview, scheduling a demo meeting, successful screen, I'm moving to the next stage with my potential team member or the manager, negotiation. Maybe I need to do 3-4 interviews with different team members. Maybe I need to have a presentation ready. Maybe there's a case. Maybe there's a pitch. Maybe something I need to prepare. Maybe there's some test I need to do. I don't know. If you're an engineer, maybe you need to code something. And then closing the deal. Actually, negotiations could also be, is it yes or no? If it's no, why no? What could I learn? Thank you so much for your time. Amazing team. What I could learn from you. What will be your feedback? Be personal here. Try to understand why not. Sometimes why not is because it is internal hire. And this is really unbeatable thing because it's much easier to hire somebody internally because the onboarding period is much faster because the person already knows the system, etc., etc., etc. Or maybe sometimes it's just a different candidate that was earlier at this stage and they just accepted the offer. Also, the recruiters cannot stop the process till the offer is accepted. So you can be still interviewing even if there's already positive kind of answer from the company, but the person hasn't accepted the offer yet. So he or she is considering negotiation with the salary. So you will be still interviewing with this company, and then there's an offer, then you're done. So but it doesn't mean that you were not good enough. It's just also the order of prioritization for recruiters and for the team. And if it's yes, great, but maybe here that's a chance for you to negotiate your salary, to negotiate your location. For example, you were applying for a job in Vienna, but actually you are living in Berlin. You don't want to move. Can I do the job from Berlin or not? Can I do the job from the European Union or not? So definitely that's a chance to talk it through to see what else you get. Or maybe if that's not something you want and you have another offer and you just say, I actually got another offer. See what they can do. So it's also how you can learn, and it, of course, you will need to create the lead generation funnel to come to the closing the deal. But if you have only one lead generation, the chances that you come to the closing the deal, maybe it's one application, one job, it also happens, but maybe not. So therefore, try to also be here much more strategically, create your lead generation, apply, have the goal per day, per week, and see how you're going down and measure every single step on your process. The other thing, how you can also apply it, it's a flywheel model. It's actually a model that is coming from HubSpot, a company, which I actually think it's really, really cool. It's the same mindset, but it's a constant ongoing process. You attract clients, you engage clients, you make sure that they like your products, and then you want them to subscribe or, for example, renew their subscription. So it's an ongoing sales process as well. See how you can also do the same for your job search. You're just learning. You're constantly learning to see. So it's the same setup as normal pipeline, but here it's an ongoing process. You're learning also from every single interaction that you have, and you see how you can adapt your approach and the process. So I would just say sales pipeline for me and the whole flywheel model incredibly helped. The amount of stuff I learned when I was moving jobs was phenomenal. The amount of people I talked to was phenomenal. Some of them are now my mentors. I never talked to these people before, but when I was in this process, I thought, if they say no, if they don't reply to me, it's fine. But then I had crazy mentors, and I approached crazy mentors because I felt so without any borders. I could do whatever I want. So that's also one of the things when you can really use this moment for something that you never thought you would do. So I would definitely encourage you girls to think about your job search more as a business sales process than an emotional roller coaster journey. So key takeaways, I think, yeah, we're good on time. Key takeaways, job search, definitely tricky, but we can manage it. Let's take a business mindset, track, learn, adapt, refine, and make it better. Diversify your application. Don't put all the eggs in one basket. See which channels and methods bring you the best results, the biggest gains, and the better ROI. Focus on them, disregard, deprioritize those that don't really work for you. And pipeline and flywheel, they can definitely help you structure. Google, check some more videos on YouTube, get better understanding, see how you can apply it to yourself. It worked for me very, very well. Maybe this won't work for you, which I doubt, because it's a really, really good process. See how can you adapt for your own needs. But that's a really powerful thing. And yeah, that's it. We're actually done in 1 hour. I still can hang out if anybody has any questions, feedback, insights, thoughts. If you think it was not good enough, please explain why and give ideas what I could have improved. I will definitely put it down. If you think it was not good enough and you have no ideas, your feedback is not valid. So only with the solutions, how I could have done it better. But no, thank you so much again for your time, for that hour. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Hi, Kate. I have a question. Thank you very much for your speech. I would like some clarification about this point, asking referrals on LinkedIn. So basically, if I find a cool company that I'm interested in, I should contact some people who work there. So basically, I can just write them a short message about introduce myself, send them my CV. But then, how exactly should I ask for referrals? Should I just ask for their telephone number to have a call with them?
The referral, like I would definitely, as a first step, suggest that you have a call with them. That just have a video call, just to get to know, because maybe you have some questions to them. How is the company culture? Is it true that the company is so great? How does it feel to work in this company? Where the company is growing? What are actually the responsibilities of this role, etc., etc.? How do they like it? You can, this is a really informal chat. How do people like it? Because if people say, yeah, it was good, but still, people usually pretty honest because it's not a formal process that you're into, and they don't have to sell you anything. But then if you feel it's a good thing, you ask, do you guys have any referral system? Do you think I could be a good fit to refer myself or not? Another way how you can also do it, see if you have any shared connections. That's why it's important to work on your LinkedIn profile, add people, because if you see there are some shared connections to the person you would like to contact, you can ask this person, who are you shared connected with? Hey, can you make a quick intro to this person, because I'm actually interested in this company. Usually people say yes. And then already through the connection, through the introduction, maybe it's a little bit more comfortable, maybe it's a little bit more trust. But to ask about the referral, it's a very normal thing. I referred so many people into Google that I didn't know, but through the process, through the because it doesn't cost anything, right? So the person will still have to go through all the stages of the interview. And the team and the manager will still decide if he or she is a good person or not, if it's a fit to the team or not. But I could just make their life a little bit easier and better. And I also learned a lot of friends, like I got a lot of friends through this referral process when we were talking, what's the role, what do you need to know, how you can prepare, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, it's a very basic process. Don't like drop it. You never seen a person, you never talk to him or her. Still try to really understand for yourself it's a good role, it's a good company or not, and then ask. And if they say no, okay, cool. If they said yes, great, can you refer me? And refer, usually you send the CV, and the CV either through the system or this person can share the CV with a recruiter. So that's how the referral system works.
Okay, thank you very much.
Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, I got an. Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I see some hands. Sorry, I'll let the others first.
No, feel free. Then we will have Steffi and we have Alina as well. Simone, feel free.
I'm sorry. I just had a quick question on what your advice would be in terms of LinkedIn and networking, in connection to networking. If you're rather new and have not so much experience, how do you start, or how do you figure out
First of all,
what's the first steps?
The first step is to register yourself on LinkedIn.
No, but yeah,
let's
say all the basics is done, but when you actually want to start to really network and really try to get to know people and build up a network, what's some advice in this direction?
You can follow a lot of people, and this is free. Follow doesn't mean connect. So follow is like following people on Instagram and you see what they write. But maybe at some point you would like to get connected to this person. You send him or her a connect request explaining why, or you met this person at some events, or you met this person at your current job. I don't know. So you slowly and steadily starting connecting with people. You just send the connect request. Some people will accept it. Some people probably won't. Some people probably never check their LinkedIn profile, therefore they ignore your message because they never do it. But slowly but steadily you will see. And then be active on LinkedIn. Share your expertise. Share, I don't know, something that helps you structuring your day. I don't know, doing this great Excel sheet, something that you are passionate about, something you want to learn, something that you're trying to learn. So it's a good way to share what you think, but really professional driven. If you, for example, go to, for example, we have all these girls now today. See who I don't know if you guys see, but through Female Factor, maybe you have some nice discussions with the people, but add them on LinkedIn as well. This is how you can also grow your network. So you already have a pretty safe space on the Female Factor community. Maybe there are some interesting discussions. Maybe you can contribute to these discussions, and then maybe you see it will be a good person to add into your network. So, and then slowly but steadily, your network is becoming bigger. You start meeting new people. You start meeting friends. Are your friends on your LinkedIn profile or not? Check them out, because maybe they have some nice connections to something that you might find interesting.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Steffi?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kate. I particularly like that you gave very specific tool recommendations, and thinking about it like an Excel sheet and like a proper CRM system is something very helpful. I never thought about this, so thank you for that tip. I have two quick questions actually. The first one would be, I see that on LinkedIn, there's also like a job search, you can really see the job offers directly on LinkedIn and apply via LinkedIn.
Exactly.
And I'm interested in the experience. Is that better than going to the job platforms directly or on the company website? Are there any experiences maybe also in the room? And the second question would be, I have to say, I'm sometimes feeling a bit overwhelmed with all the job platforms, and maybe it's because I'm not super sure for what I'm looking for, but I feel like, is there any specific strategies on how to go about job search on these platforms? I was missing a bit that part in your whole presentation, which I loved. But,
super cool question. So regarding LinkedIn, what was the question was, is it better, what is better, company website or LinkedIn? To be honest, if the role is on the company website, probably it's on the LinkedIn as well. So they probably, the recruiters are also trying to maximize the reach, that more people see the roles, because they need to build the same funnel to have people apply, to have people rejected, to have people moving to this first stage. So they also need to create this funnel that we just talked from the candidate perspective. So in my experience, it's not, there was not a big difference. What could be LinkedIn more interesting, because you can write messages to people, because for example, for certain roles, sometimes you can see hiring a recruiter. Therefore, for you, that's a chance to actually approach this recruiter personally. It's not necessarily that they will get back to you, but it's also the chance that actually they might. Therefore, LinkedIn, you can just see, also you can see if you have any connections to any roles or any companies. So that's also like this bigger overview, that the company, you're only looking at the company and that's it. You don't see everything else that is connected. But yes, it's overwhelming. Therefore, manage your LinkedIn also well and with care. You can also set up notifications if you're interested in specific roles and specific companies, locations. You can always set this notification, and then you will receive the email if any company publish some jobs that you can be the first to apply to. And what was, again, remind me the second questions, because when I was giving you the answer, I already forgot. What was the second question?
It was actually this, that also when I use job platforms or also on LinkedIn, that I sometimes feel a bit overwhelmed and I feel like I get lost and distracted and I'm not super effective on looking or finding what I really want to find.
Okay, that's totally valid point. I would say you need to see what works for you, because again, which interface works for you, because again, most of all, like all bigger companies, they also use everything to make sure that you see their role everywhere, to make sure that you apply. That's also their goal. See what works for you. Sometimes you can see different roles. So for example, depending also on the job, I would say more business-oriented focus sales stack. Everybody, international companies also, or bigger companies, they definitely use LinkedIn. Lots of, they double, they also use LinkedIn. So for example, in Austria, they use 𝘆𝑚 and they use any other platforms. It's also, for example, if you're looking for smaller companies or startups, this is, for example, the source that I mentioned, 𝘊𝗀𝗏.com. It's really, really good. And then you see that the jobs that they have, any other platforms don't, because it's a little bit niche. It could be like a startup of 2 people hiring a 3rd person. So LinkedIn, they probably would not publish this job. But I also understand, but here maybe my recommendation would be at first to start with everything, or at least with more than one, and then see which one for you feels better, where you see good results, where do you stick mostly to, right? and see where you just can hang out more, because of course job search is a long process and it's a lot of time that we invest. You also should feel comfortable. And also if you see that if you apply through other channels and nothing works, maybe that's not the best channel for you for that role. So I would also start with more general and then go through the funnel and specialize. And then it also gets less overwhelmed because you just focus on something that brings you next steps. Cool. Aline also have a question?
Yeah, I've got a question. It seems to me that when somebody looks for a job for the first time, for example, if this or another individual is getting bachelor's or master's degree, yeah, he is said, oh my goodness, so look for a job or for an internship if you are the first, second, third year student, yeah? I mean, if you are in the process of getting a diploma. But what shall we do for people who switch the roles or who would like to, who are career switchers, yeah, who would like to work in a new industry? Like, does it mean that we should finish our studies if we have enrolled in some other courses, or is it okay for us, because we are not same young, we are not 18, 20 years old, is it okay for us to start looking for a new role if we are, I don't know, in the middle of our studies? Like if yeah.
First of all, ongoing learning is super important. That's also something I would advise to everyone. If you haven't learned something in a while, do it, because this ongoing learning process that you also can also show that not only you received education, your first education, bachelor, some time ago, but actually you're doing some courses, online, offline, whatever, and you also notify people, and it's also in your CV with different years. So should be something already for 2024 that you're doing some course. It's absolutely fine that you're doing a study, because it's also with a lot of, it's also the roles, when can I start? So it's not like you get a job and you need to start tomorrow. Sometimes you start in 3-4, also depending actually on the country. For example, in Austria, I think the notice period is 3 months. So if somebody is looking for a new job, they still should stick at their current role for 3 months, because it's a law. And during this month, somebody else could be found. So I would just say studying is important, but you will have to manage it at the same time, because if you only study and not looking for a job, and you think you want and you think you need, there's going to be no more progress. But if you looking for a job but don't study, like studying is super important. It's also your skill levels, your knowledge, your degrees, etc., etc. So I would just say it will be challenging, but maybe to manage everything at the same time, that's a way to go. If it's also your goal, it also should be the priority. What is more important? I don't know. If you are in a crazy period of exams, maybe it's not the best time to put an interview, because then you will be like, you wouldn't be able maybe to manage, because it would be too much stress.
You know, I'm just scared that people will say, oh my goodness, you're not a professional because you've got nobody knows how many years of the experience in this field, and you have been studying for 4 months.
I would just say,
yeah,
this is also not the advice, like, who cares what people say? Like, you doing what you're doing, and if this person is saying this, that's probably not the best person to work with. So it would be another person who doesn't think like this. So you do what you do, you finish what you need to finish, and then proceed. And believe me, there are a lot of people who are impressed with education, that people actually learn something. So it's really, really important. Therefore, I would, as soon as you have the thoughts, I would just focus on the process and building your pipeline and sales funnel. What people say, you cannot control it. You can control what you can control. And if you receive this feedback that people tell you, okay, what do I do with this feedback? That's it. So, but no, keep going, proceed. Don't get distracted, because it's a distraction, and better focus the energy into building your pipeline and applying, learning, getting feedback, refining your approach, make it better.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Any more questions?
Hi, Kate.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So thank you very much. It was super clear, very insightful. I have a
question, which maybe it's for another question, but I'm a bit on a career shift, and I'm struggling passing the first filters due to artificial.
We lost you a little bit, but you can. Yeah, I got that you cannot pass the test through the first
or the organization. Sorry,
Agustina, we couldn't hear you very well. There was some connection problem.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
I'll go again. I was wondering if you have any insights. Maybe it's for a big topic for another session, but on how to pass IA filters, because I'm getting stuck in the first steps. Even when messaging recruiters for LinkedIn and people from the companies, organizations that I am applying.
Yeah, I think I got
because
the question. Agustina, you're a little bit like lost, but I think I got the question. Basically, the question is how to optimize your maybe LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, CV here, that you don't get rejections from AI. Here, actually, we had this topic when we were talking about the CV. It's all about the keywords. So you really need to make sure you have the right keywords in your CV. And this is a much bigger topic. It will happen because more and more companies will apply those AI filters to make sure they have the right candidates. Because again, recruiters also receive a lot of maybe applications that are not good fit, because they also value their time. They also need to make sure they're as efficient as they can. Here, I would really, first of all, if you have a chance, try to approach or find our previous session. I think there should be somewhere video about the CV, because I really went super deep into the whole audience and keywords and like how can you really adapt your CV depending on which audience you're talking to or applying to. But here I would definitely maybe put more focus on the keywords you use in your CV to make sure that you put the right keywords that match. That would be my first recommendation. But that's why, again, we use all the tools, because not everywhere AI is used. Therefore, we try to diversify. Therefore, if you see that tool is not working, maybe try to use something else and see what will work for you. But eventually it will work. So that's definitely, I could say. It's just a bit of time and a bit of patience.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, I think we are at time. Feel free to connect me with LinkedIn. Whoever, Simona, you had this question, how to do it. This is my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to send me the connect request. If you guys, girls, have any more questions, feel free to ask. Also, Taylor was here. You can ask the questions to the female factor community. Then those questions will be given to me. You will receive the video of this presentation. You will receive the slides of this presentation. So I'll make sure that they're good for you to read, that you always have this list as a checklist. Yeah, and I wish everyone good luck, but luck is you. So definitely try to follow the tools, try to make a plan for yourself. Don't wait too much, because otherwise all this excitement of new knowledge will be gone. Try to see how it works for yourself. And again, if you will have more ideas, what else we could use, feel free to share in the community or directly with me. I'll be happy to learn from you. So I wish everyone a great evening. Have a great, whoever has a bank holiday today, enjoy the evening of your bank holiday. If not, enjoy Thursday, and then have a great weekend that is also coming to us. Thank you so much for your time. It was great.
Thank you, Kate. It was fantastic.